Welcome to Season 2 of the Wood Podcast. This is a lo-fi skateboard podcast where we talk about where we're from, our beginnings, our boards, our back problems, and our homies. We love the pros, but there's also a whole world of B-team celebrities, ramp builders, local rippers, little groms, and all the people you don't get to hear about on a normal basis. And who knows, you might actually hear a pro or two on here one day. But for now, enjoy the deep cuts. Brought to you by Eureka Street Creative, The Skate Gym, Hellsick, and Beware Skateboards.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Wood Podcast. I'm John Miller, and this podcast is all about the B team, the non-celebrities, the non-pros, and the people with back problems sitting on the deck telling the stories. But in this case, we do have a pro with us today.
He still has back problems.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I have the sponsors of this show, Hellsick and Beware Skateboards, right here, Pat and Brian. I know you guys have heard me mention this at the beginning of every single show. Actually, episode 1 was Pat. So the very Genesis episode. We're now into 2 seasons, pretty deep in the second season. And yeah, we have Brian Michaelsick and Dakota White. And we are at the Banger and the Hanger here in Houston, the annual event that is, in a way, call it sacrilege if you will, but becoming the new Shut Up and Skate, I think.
Woo!
So, right?
Hope so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to, do a recap with you guys since you started the company and kind of go a little bit through your journey on what it's like realistically what it's like to own a skateboard company.
Don't do it.
Yeah, because, skateboarding has the big bucks, right?
Yeah. Can't you tell?
Yeah.
Well, everybody thinks you make all this money and you have all these free boards to hand out.
Yeah.
I'm still standing next to my mailbox waiting for my first paycheck.
Okay. Yeah, so we're not in it for the money, and I'm not in this podcast for the money. So, but it's all the fame and glory and being around something that you love, right? You truly love. I grew up in the same hood as you guys. I watched you grow up. You watched me grow up in a lot of ways. And we skated a lot of the same spots, know a lot of the people, even though you guys are still a couple of years older than me. So I'll take that to the bank. I want to know, first of all, where did you guys come up with the idea to start a skateboard company?
It was actually kind of weird because we were both just starting skating together again during the pandemic. And I had already had Foundry skateboards back then and wasn't doing anything. I'd been sitting on it for 11 years. And I started speaking about it one day that I was going to bring it back. And it was weird because Brian was like, I'm just about to start a nonprofit doing boards. Why don't we do it together?
Okay.
And so I was like, shit, let's do it.
In your adult life, you said.
Yeah, this is during the pandemic.
Yeah. But you never really talked about it as kids.
No. When we were in middle school, we talked about having a skateboard company. I don't know if Brian remembers.
I think we more talked about going pro and like what our graphics would look like. And, I would always be drawing some crazy monster like, this is what I'm going to have on the bottom of my board. And
Right. So we have graphics still. I have mine that it's sort of ripped off from Alva.
Yeah.
It was like a claw with an eyeball in it for the top. And then the bottom was a devil holding up broken boards, and it had tons of broken boards under his feet. And I chose the name Mike Santino as my skateboard name.
Your skateboard alias. Just call me Mike.
We were like 12.
Yeah, man. So you drew it out and everything.
I still
Your
have
hypothetical.
all of it.
Oh, that's so rad, man.
yeah, that saves everything.
Yeah. Did you draw anything out?
I was never very good at drawing, so I'd draw something like, nah. It wasn't until like freshman in high school that I was drawing all trippy like acid work stuff that like, oh, drawing acid, this would look great on the bottom of a board. And then my art teacher stole all my shit at the end of the year, basically grabbed my portfolio and took it.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, what the fuck? I have nothing to show for anything.
I have a Misfit skull that he drew when we were 12 years old.
So you kept it, right?
Yeah, he keeps everything.
Why
That's
not?
what
It's
friends
a
do for
small
each
piece
other.
of paper. Those are the easiest things to keep.
That's so rad, man. Yeah, so you fantasize about your graphics. Did you send off pictures of yourselves to sponsors to put it I sent mine to Kryptonics and Gullwing.
I don't think I was smart enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Like we were the little skate rats at the Houston skate park, so
Yeah.
I thought that I would get something by like begging on all the older guys. So like you see Ken Fillion or somebody at the park and just like you're too scared to ask them, but you want to like be next to them the whole time everywhere they go.
Yeah.
Like something might happen if I'm just standing here.
Yeah.
Or some of their ability would rub off on you if you're standing next to them and, they're doing like cool indie airs. You're like, if I'm here long enough, I'll be able to do that.
I mean, there is some truth to that,
If you're skating, but I'm just like standing on the deck watching them do this crazy shit. You think it's going to rub off on you. You could become this awesome skateboarder from all.
I mean, I was there on the Hurricane ramp and I tried to, rub elbows with them. I rubbed elbows with Jeff Phillips, and all that stuff.
That's so rad.
Yeah, Do you remember Wild Bill?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Any particular thoughts that stand out?
I don't know.
He was just always a madman.
Yeah.
And he'd always show up at the weirdest times at the skate park.
Yeah.
And then he'd disappear. He'd be like, I was going to try to... And he'd be gone.
Yeah. Man, so speaking of graphics, fast forward to now and Hellsick Skateboards and all this stuff. You guys have tons of different graphics. You draw all the graphics, right?
I draw most of them. We do have a couple other people that help out every once in a while.
Yeah.
Brett Stiles and PJ McAtee.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, my daughter also did the eyes graphic.
Oh, did?
Yeah.
And basically she drew out all the different eyes, and I went ahead and pretty much copied and pasted and did the arrangement on the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, is that something that's super important to you guys as a company to have like graphics that stand out? And
try. I mean, I kind of want to be up with, everybody else's graphics, but just learning, that when we first started, we didn't have the money to buy a 10 color graphic.
Yeah.
So we have to try and make something cool in 2 or 3 colors and figure out how it'll play on the board to where it'll still look like more than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
We also want graphics that mean something,
Sure.
especially with the latest graphic that, they collaborated on what to do it on. And so it really has some meaning to Dakota.
Yeah. And that's why I want to bring in Dakota into this conversation because he just became pro yesterday and got his own signature pro model on a Hellsick skateboard. You want to show that deck here real quick?
Of course.
And for those of you listening on the podcast audio, this is a buffalo and is surrounded by lightning. And on the top side, there's basically a Native American quilt on the other side.
Right.
So you want to give us a little rundown, Dakota, on the significance of the graphics?
Yeah, so I'm 25% Native. I'm a Oglala Lakota and Northern Cheyenne, and never went through the naming ceremony, but what I've been called since I was a kid is Buffalo that roams with thunder. And I really took inspiration to give to Pat from that name and was like, hey, I've always been like this very like spiritual connection to buffaloes. I'm like, is there any way that we could do something with that and like incorporate some lightning? And the first time that I saw this sketched out, it just blew me out of the water. I was so stoked on it. Like,
Yeah, dude.
because, I mean, my favorite skateboarding is 80s skateboarding.
Yeah.
And part of what went with 70s, 80s skateboarding, even into the 90s, was just amazing graphics. And for some reason in my generation, they're like, let's take a picture of a carpet and put that on the bottom of a board. And some of the newer graphics are just like, without having an artist, without having anything that really like makes them significant, like, you know, everyone remembers cab decks and everyone remembers like Hossoi's shape and like, you know, there was stuff that made decks stand out. And nowadays I feel like there's so many, they just kind of get lost in the mix.
Yeah.
Where like I really saw this for the first time and was like, damn, that's powerful. That's some cool stuff right there. And I just love it, man.
I mean, that's the trick, is to try and come out with something that's never been done before. Most of my artist friends tell me that it's not worth trying because everything's been done. And so I draw a lot. I probably drew 15 buffaloes, and as soon as I get done with each one, I would just throw it in the trash. It had no feeling, you know, and I kept thinking about what he said, and I just started thinking it needs to be like a dream.
Yeah.
So it's more like a dreamscape. And the baby buffalo is like coming out, charging, shooting out lightning, and it kind of fell together in my head to where it was something different. But I mean, the goal is to make an iconic board that people are going to remember in 20 years. I hope I've done it, but I'm going to keep trying every time to do it again. You know what I'm saying?
That's rad.
And then the top graphic actually means a ton to me too, because it's a native star quilt design. And my grandma, I grew up traveling the powwow circuit, and especially before getting into skateboarding and competing a lot, every single weekend we were at a powwow and out in the arena dancing, and she makes star quilts by hand and has been doing it my whole life, and she's 78 years old, crawling on the ground, still making these blankets for people because it's kind of a lost art. And so to have that on top of my board and be able to look down at that every time, like, it gets me so stoked up, man. Like, I could not be more stoked about how this graphic turned out, and the boards ride so dang good.
Man.
No, it was important to make sure to get some family history in there.
For sure.
Especially with the Native American history.
Yeah.
One of my best friends in Austin is Lakota. And I'm part Native too.
Yeah.
And so it's important to try and get that, raw, like, this is what it is. It's like, it's got a feeling, not a meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely, if anyone's ever seen me skate, Buffalo that roams with thunder is pretty accurate. I'm stampeding and basically trying to put a hole in the ramp every time I ride.
Got like a bull in a china shop, a buffalo in a china shop.
Buffalo in a china shop for sure. Buffalo on a vert ramp.
That's awesome, man. I love that style of skating, as these guys can attest to.
Oh yeah, no, totally, man. Go for
man.
it.
So how'd you guys meet? Like, a ripper out of Wisconsin, and then you guys down in Texas. Like,
that's all Brian.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to the skate park up in Green Bay. So we were up there every summer and every winter.
Yeah.
And I was in this park and just kind of cruising around. And this dude out of nowhere just starts ripping. Like, he was making the 9-foot look like a mini ramp. I'm dude, this ramp is too small for this guy. Who the fuck is this person? Like, really? Like, and found out, like, oh yeah, he was teaching a vert class coming up, and I was like, dude, have you been to the HVR? They do this banger in the hangar, man. You should come sometime. And we just kind of like started talking back and forth on Instagram, and the first one he couldn't go to because you were injured. Go figure. And we got him out here last year, and he had that sick session of
hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you last year.
And then we went to Easy 7 on Sunday, and him and was it Timmy and
Ren,
yeah, we had a
they
great
were
session
just
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
And after that session, we actually started talking about the
Doing
design
the graphic last
of this
year
board.
at HVR. That's how long it's been.
Well, it's hard to put out a graphic too when a guy's got a bum knee. So coming through the ACL surgery and getting back to actually being able to ride, and also be able to have it come out at this event, like, you really do just get that like Texas family. And for me, like, being from Wisconsin and not really being from around here, but to come the first year and have all these like Texas old heads and legends come up to me and be like, dude, that's what it's about. That's what skating's about. Like, it was like, oh no, this is what skating's about. Events like this, and like just the vibe that Texas has in general of just like really like pushing for sick, like transition, vert skating, bowl, whatever it is. And I mean, there's amazing street skating and stuff too. But when you look back at the 80s and all the shit that's happened over the years, whether it's, Jim Phillips or Jeff Phillips, sorry about that, and or like Ben Rayborn, it's just like there's so many generations of rippers, and to kind of be like adopted by that Texas family a little bit, especially riding for you guys, like, I'm like extremely honored because of just knowing how like historic and rad it is down here. So coming down to the first one blew me out of the water. The second one that I did was absolutely amazing with the board coming out, and I'm probably gonna skate this event until my legs fall off.
Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
or both arms.
Yeah, whatever goes first. But you can skate without arms, so
True.
hey, there's guys that skate without legs too, so I'm down for it all.
Yeah. Rest
I'll
in
drop
peace,
in on a
John Comer.
wheelchair.
One of the baddest ass rippers of all time, John Comer. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, John, man, another legend, man. Getting to skate with him growing up, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The fact that you're doing ollie 1 foot with the prosthetic, that don't make no sense. Like, what?
A circular thinking,
John's
yeah.
rad.
No, that's dope.
The peg leg too. I got to see him ride one time with the peg leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you 50-50ing on a
I don't know.
but John Comer, man, rest in peace.
Yeah, that's super
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, thanks a lot for this. We're on a time crunch today, but thanks for jumping in. Congratulations.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Appreciate it. Thanks
And
for
of
having
course,
me.
Time
Brian
again,
and Pat,
man.
two of my best
Yeah,
homies.
man.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Man.
We'll be
All right.
skating soon.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Wood Skateboard Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions or want to learn more, just go to theskategym.com. Now quit listening here and get out and skate. Brought to you by Eureka Street Creative, The Skate Gym, Hellsick, and Beware Skateboard.
That was a lot of noises. Yeah. The pocket's fun. Get the G-turn. Yes. Nice.